the test good to go? Oh, wow. Look at how I thought I was testing the live stream, but I'm really live. Okay. Hey, guys. Sorry for that ridiculous start. I thought that I was testing the live stream. Welcome to another episode or edition or Ask Blessing at the Bar live stream. It's been quite a few weeks since I've done one of these. The last one I did was my BPTC Pre-registration Q&A. I do apologize for my absence, but I'm back. So we're going to get into all of the questions that we've got. I'm just going to let all of the lovely Twitter people know that we are live. How is everyone? I hope the BPTC is not too traumatizing and that you're getting on top of everything. Round about now, everyone should have had their first qualifying sessions if you haven't already. And yeah, so I'm just going to give a couple of minutes for people to join us. And traumatizing. Woo! That's me. Yeah, I'm just gonna give a few minutes for people to join us. I'm gonna post as well on Instagram. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing good. I am doing really great. So the reason I've been so absent and everything is because I started a new job. So I'm just gonna take a picture for Instagram. See, nice and cringe. Yeah, so I started a new job, so I'm doing that now. And yeah, I really enjoy it. Like the main thing I love about it is other people. Like I'm really with a lot of people and they're really cool people and I just really love that. So yeah. So I'm just gonna say live now. Live now. Click the link. Click the link. Click this picture in my bio. In my bio to watch this stream. So we've got quite a few questions. I am heading to a Zumba class. So I can't take long. We're only going to be here for about 30 minutes today. Just doing some Instagramming. Boom. Hey, okay, let's get into the first set of questions. So I'm going to answer all of the questions I got last week first, because obviously I'm behind on those and I should have answered those last week, but I didn't. So let's get into it. So I've got, hi Blessing, I'm Jennifer, a third year law student. I've been watching your videos on YouTube and I do enjoy it. I have some questions for you. So I've got quite a few questions here. So first, what inn are you a member of? I'm a member of Inner Temple. How did you get your BBT scholarship and from which inn? I got it by applying, interviewing, and I got it from Inner Temple, as I mentioned. What advice would you give me since I'm also thinking of applying for a scholarship? I would say the thing that you should think about is, why do you want to become a barrister? I know that's a stupid question because everybody can answer that. But just know why, and then also be comfortable discussing that with people. I think one thing that I've noticed that people do, and I volunteered at the scholarship interviews with Inner, and also I've done it, and I know people who've done it. So I'm speaking from experience here. Is I think that a lot of people, the first time they've ever really sat in front of someone and justified why they want to do this profession is when they walk into that scholarship interview. And I think becoming a barrister, a lot of people describe it as it's their dream. It's something that is very big. So sitting in front of someone and it's saying, I want to do this, and they simply ask you why and what can you prove that shows you want to do this, can be quite intimidating if you haven't practiced doing that before. So my suggestion to you is the best way to nail it for your scholarship applications is to spend a lot of time not only thinking about why you want to become a barrister, but discuss that with people. If you've got friends and family that you know you can actually have an interesting conversation with, then talk with them and say, I think my reasons of wanting to become a barrister are X, Y, and Z. And then maybe they can say to you, but couldn't you do X and Y if you also did this profession? You see what I mean? It really encourages you to get and nail down why is it that you want this. And then it also helps you nail down all of the different sort of sources you can draw from. So if you have, I don't know, maybe you've got experience on your university newspaper and you know that's something that you want to bring in. My point is, get that in your mind, understand why you want to do it, and then it becomes so much easier to explain why you want to do it to people. And I think that's the tricky part about scholarship applications and interviews is people get stressed because they've never explained why they want to do this before. So yeah, I hope that answers that part of the question. The other tip, again, also stay coherent, stay clear, and be very, very nail down why you want this, who you are, and they're looking for interest and aptitude. So interest in the bar, motivation. Will this person go to the end? And aptitude. Can this person perform in the role of a barrister? So if you, one of my tips for applications, and something I'm trying to apply for myself as well, is to imagine the recipient of your application. Who are they? They're likely a barrister. Why are they reading it? Because they've voluntarily, most of the time, put themselves on the scholarship interview panel. What are they looking for? Intellect, aptitude, interest, motivation. Then feed your answers through that lens of understanding. Now, I hope that answers your question. I forgot to let people on Twitter know. Watch the Ask Blessing at the Bar live stream here. Paste. So I've got last question that you've sent me is also, since I'm Black, I would like you to help me with what in is best for me. I have great news. Any of the ins will work out for you. The main thing that you should look at for an in is, again, things like the scholarships. That's the main thing. But also, you can look at the history of the in. I've stated my reasons for choosing Inner Temple before in previous videos and blog posts, and that's because I saw that they had, I liked their history. I liked what went in with it. But there's no in that I can tell you is more or less open to people from minorities, because honestly, they all are. And it's really one of those situations where the in is an inclusive space that's open to you. There, obviously, in any space you navigate, in any institution you navigate, there's going to be bumps and there's going to be some hurdles that you need to jump. But overall, there's not a single in that I would tell you, don't apply to this in if you're a person of color. I wouldn't tell you that. And I don't think it would be correct for me to say that to you. So ultimately, go for it. Pick your in based on, what you want to get out of it, the scholarship provision you're looking for. I've mentioned before things like mooting competitions, opportunities to study and work abroad, ongoing support after pupillage. There's a lot of different things that you can look at to decide an in. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Oh, and I'm taking way too long. Let's keep it moving. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Next one. This is a question saying, I was wondering if you have any advice for applying for the BPTC course, as I will be starting my application soon and I'm really nervous. Would I recommend doing it with a master's? Okay, please don't worry about applying for the BPTC. Like I've said many times, if you're on a 2-1 or higher and you've got good reasons for why you want to study and everything's in place, you're fine. You'll get a place on the course. It's only if you have under a 2-1 or you do not have a degree that is recognized by the Bar Standards Board that you may have some difficulties with starting the BPTC. But the application process is the lightest hurdle. It's light work in comparison to everything else. So don't worry so much about the applications. Honestly, there's some thunder, so I'm really sorry. There's going to be some loud noises in a minute. But don't worry so much about the application. Focus on your reasoning, your academic transcript, and there's the thunder. And that should really do you. And I've answered the rest. You've asked about ins, and I've answered that as well. Okay, so let's head to the Curious Cat and see what's going on over there. See if we got any questions. Na, 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 na. Okay. Hi, I'm going to start Nottingham Trent University in September, and I want to become a barrister. I was predicted AAA A levels, but due to personal circumstances, I didn't get the grades I wanted, and one A level let me down. This is my story. Hence why I'm going to Nottingham Trent. I was wondering if there will be any Russell Group bias towards aspiring barristers who did not attend a Russell Group university. Okay, thank you so much for your question. Let's get into some things. First of all, I got AAB at A level. I was supposed to get 3 A stars. It crushed me. I genuinely was so upset about it for so long. And on top of that, I didn't get into Oxford. And this was after I'd done all the entrance exams and submitted my essays and done loads of practice interviews. And people told me I'd definitely get in. And I got down to the final 4 at the college. And then I had the weirdest interview and I didn't get in. And the reason I tell you all of that is because whilst I still ended up going to a Russell Group university through clearing, I didn't go to Oxford. And it built in my mind that there's an anti-Oxford bias at the bar. And honestly speaking, historically, yes, the bar has got an issue with people who haven't gone to Oxford or Cambridge getting in. It's been a thing, and it's something that chambers are still getting shamed for to this day. So I completely understand why you would be freaking out and stressed out going to a non-Russell Group university. Because at least if you've gone to a Russell Group university, although there's the Oxbridge bias, at least you've gone to a Russell Group. Now, this is what I have to tell you about everything I've just unpacked there. It's all absolute nonsense. Your university does not determine whether or not you're going to become a barrister or the quality of barrister you're going to be. That's off rip. Now, I can just tell you that. Are you going to encounter people who are going to be snobby towards you about your degree? Yes, you are. And it's up to you to ensure that you don't let those people deter you. Don't let them dissuade you. No chambers is allowed to not give you pupillage because you did not go to a Russell Group university. They cannot do that. And if anyone ever tells you that you cannot become a barrister because you didn't go to a Russell Group university, they cannot tell you that because it's not true. So ultimately, it's all about the confidence that you have in yourself and the ability that you are able to demonstrate. I let this whole I didn't go to Oxford thing get into my head for ages, and I let it convince me that I wasn't clever enough and that I could never become a barrister, and it was all over for me before it began. But you cannot let these ideas seep into your head, because if you do, anything, the smallest knock to your confidence is going to crush you. So make sure that you spend your time at university doing everything you have to do so that when you come to the BPTC, if you don't do a law degree, if you've done a law degree, or the GDL, if you've done a non-law degree, no one can tell you anything. Don't let anyone tell you that your university matters. If you've got the grades and you've got the skills and you've got the talent and you've got the motivation, you're going to get there. And anyone who gets in the way is just an enemy of progress. But you've got to be able to steamroll past the haters, the naysayers. I got told I was a bog standard 2-1 from Warwick. So even though I went to Warwick, I was still told I was just a bog standard 2-1. You know, that's how chambers would see me. And I have to make myself special. So that's what I wanted you to understand, is that there's going to be naysayers at every stage of the way, but you are the one that's going to push beyond it. So I hope that's answered your question and motivated and inspired you a bit. And if you want examples of people who haven't gone to Russell Group universities but still made it, I can give those to you. Send me a message and I'll talk to you about that. Okay, so that's all of our Curious Cat questions. We've got some questions on the Instagram, which I'm going to answer also. I have to go to my archives because I went to my DMs instead of my archives. She got that whoa. She got the drip flow. You know when you get a song in your head and you can't get it out. Woo! We got a lot of questions. I'm gonna try and answer these quickly. BPTC scholarship application tips. I've done that. And how do you prep for interview? Again, I think I explained that. That's talking to friends and family, practicing answering your questions. Give them a copy of your application so they can ask you questions based on things on your application, and be able to draw every answer back to why you'll be a good barrister and why you want to be a barrister. So keep practicing that with people. How I felt about chances getting BPTC scholarship that will cover all of the fees. Scholarships are means tested. If you need a full scholarship and they want to grant you a scholarship, they'll give you what you need to cover the fees. Do we really need to memorize the white book rules? No, you don't. That's a question for all of my BPTC students. You absolutely do not need to memorize the white book rules. Don't do that to yourself. Love yourself. You just need to know how to apply them. I'm going to be doing some more videos and blog posts specifically on civil lit studying and applying the knowledge, and I will help you with that. How to make effective notes for criminal and civil lit. Again, I'm going to answer that, but ultimately, your notes need to be a practical tool. I have done a video with lawcareers.net where I link to Snigdha Nag's video on making diagram notes for civil litigation. I think you should check that out, and I'll put that in the description of this video. But ultimately, your notes should not be just pages and pages and pages and pages of notes you're never going to use. They need to be practical and useful. You need to be able to look at your notes whilst answering questions and guide yourself to an answer. So things like diagrams, flowcharts, that's what you should be focusing on. But I will cover that more. I've covered that. Someone sent me a link and said, is this link okay to buy notes from? Listen to me carefully. Don't buy BPTC notes. I will not endorse that. I will never, ever endorse you buying notes unless you're buying yourself revision notes, as in a revision guide, which is something you're using to aid you. If you want to use notes in place of your own notes, you are preparing to fail the course. I fully suggest you don't do that. You're going to just, please, I beg you, don't do that. Make your notes throughout the year. And then if you want to buy and consult some revision notes, you can do that. I will actually give you some recommendations. I've done a blog post on 5 books that I used during the BPTC to help me. I will link that below, but I will also do some more recommendations for you. But yeah, that's my overall thing about buying notes. Okay, we're nearly done. So we're just going to answer all of the questions I got today. So I've already discussed how to approach BPTC scholarship applications. How do you go about selecting chambers? That's a great question. Thank you for asking. So obviously I'm applying for the second time this year. So I've been going through my chamber selection process. So overall, I've got an idea of which area of law I want to do. And the second part of your question that you asked was, what do you do if you're not certain which area you want to practice in? But for those of you who do know, I look at it based on what my priorities are. My priority is I want to be best in my field. Whichever practice area I go into, I want to be ranking as one of the leading juniors in that area and ultimately one of the leading silks in that area. And a silk is a QC, so Queen's Counsel, so very senior specialist barrister. And because I know that when it comes to the bar, I want to be on top, I want to be getting the best work. I want to be trained in the best chambers. I want all of that for myself. So I've been looking a lot at things like the Legal 500. I've been looking at, in my areas of law, which chambers are consistently getting their juniors ranking in those top areas. That suggests to me that the environment of chambers and the quality of training in chambers and the confidence that chambers juniors have is such that they're consistently ranking junior members of chambers in the Legal 500. And if you're not familiar with the Legal 500, it's a ranking and feedback thing for legal professionals. So you can get an understanding of what the chamber's areas are, where do they rank, where do they perform well, and then it also does individual barristers, so where this individual ranks within this area of law. So that's why I look at that, because I've identified a priority and then I'm able to do my research and whittle my chambers down based around that. So my recommendation for you is that identify your priorities. And if, like in your question, you are not sure which area you want to practice in, your priority doesn't necessarily negate different areas of law. So your priority could be flexible working because you've got caring responsibilities. Now, as you go around looking at chambers, you can look at which chambers have those options for flexibility, and you can do mini pupillages. So mini pupillages are a great fast track way for you to learn and understand if an area of law is for you or not. So my recommendation, if you're not doing mini pupillages, or if you haven't done a lot of them, is to try and get as many of those done before you apply, because then you can nail down on a practice area because you've seen it in real life. And then on top of that, you also can nail down on chambers because you've spent a bit of time there, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers your question. Ultimately as well, another thing I want you to remember is that because a lot of chambers are specialists now, it's kind of difficult when you approach a specialist chambers because you think, oh, I have to say that my only interest is shipping law. But in some chambers, they are flexible and open for you to say, look, I have interests here, but I'm really happy to train in your chamber's main practice area, because chambers will have primary areas of practice. And another helpful thing with the Legal 500 is you can see where they rank in their main areas of practice. So as long as your application addresses the main areas of practice for chambers, then you're going to be fine, because you are going to be able to show that even though you're flexible and you're not that set, you're not ironclad, you're still open to exploring chambers' main area of work, and ultimately you possess the aptitude to be good at chambers' main area of work because they've got to make money. So that concludes the live stream this week. Your questions have inspired me to create a couple more resources. Because we've got a few minutes, I can talk to you guys a bit about what I've got planned and what I've got going on. So if you've been on my Instagram, you know that I've been talking for a few months now about my first Blessing at the Bar event. I'm excited about it. I'm planning it. I had hoped to be having it around now, but life said no. So if you look out in about October time for tickets, I think November's really the time where loads of events happen. But if you look around October's time for tickets and information, you'll see all of that. As always, please don't forget to subscribe to the Blessing at the Bar YouTube channel, because I'm going to be coming on here and talking to you about the things that we're going to be doing at the event and all of that stuff. And also, I've really enjoyed all of the love that I've received on my Legal Tea Would Be Instagram page. So if you haven't seen that, please check it out. It's my podcast that I do as well. And I've been talking about all of the juicy Supreme Court drama. I'll be covering Brexit as we get into the final hurdle. And yeah, it's just a great place for you to stay up to date on legal news and developments and get some commentary from me. So yeah, I think that's everything from me this week. As always, it's an absolute pleasure answering you guys' questions. I will be back next week to answer your questions again. And if you have anything else you want to ask me, just send me a DM and ask Blessing at the bar. Okay, guys, peace out, and I'll see you later.